Go Power Rankings. Where is your team this week? This is Locked On Big 12.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Big 12. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12. Thanks for making this show your first listen every single day. To my left is Cameron Stewart of Locked On Baylor. People are like, oh, you bring the Baylor guy on with the power rankings deal? Okay, one, he's like of the people that exist, he's in the lower 25% of Baylor fans who are like, oh, Baylor's going to win every week. He's very good at just... because he's a Patriots fan, he's good at knowing when his team just isn't that good. And we hosted a show together on ESPN for a year, and so we have rapport, and he's a fun person to deduce these with. We'll start with the power rankings. That's all I'll give you. If you hit subscribe, we get to keep our jobs. We'll start with the power rankings, and then we'll go with who are the biggest disappointments. Do the Baylor Bears fall in the category of like the whole fire your coach, your disappointment, you can't do it, nobody likes you? Yeah, is that where they are? And does that include West Virginia? Does it include Oklahoma State, Kansas State? Then Utah fans are the worst in the Big 12. Did we replace Texas fans? Are we so back in the Big 12? Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. Number one, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Texas Tech. And look, Iowa State has more Power 4 wins than Texas Tech. Iowa State is still number 2. I think BYU is at 3 for me, and TCU is at 4. You could argue TCU up to 3 and BYU down to 4. It's the defensive metrics and the way their defense has looked. I've watched almost every down of BYU football this year, and they're elite on that side of the ball. TCU defensively still have a couple of question marks. They looked a lot better than Baylor did against SMU.
They sure did, yeah.
Sorry, but Texas Tech at 1, and if you push back, they don't have as many Power 4. If you push back, I just don't know if you watch this game.
Well, they clearly, they have the biggest win so far. So you can say, they only have the one Power 4, but like they have the biggest win. I hate doing that in retrospect with Iowa State, Kansas State, but like Kansas State has sucked since then.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take it down. I'm not going to be like, oh, that win doesn't mean anything. But yeah, a win on the road at Utah looks better right now than a win in a neutral site against Kansas State does. I think you're going to clear 1 and 2 between Tech and Iowa State, and then everybody else.
Tech defensively, too, was just so much better than I've seen a defense this year. Against.
You got to ask the question. You got to ask the question about Tech. Like, this is one of the best defenses they've had in like a long time, like
ever,
long time.
Yeah, ever.
Level came on the squad show yesterday and said, and did bring up some numbers that like the 08 defense was still pretty good, even though that was very much a patented Leach offensive kind of team. But yeah, like they never, even when they were successful, had very good defenses. This is a legit defense that Tech has.
1, Texas Tech. 2, Iowa State. Good job with the bye week, I guess. 3, BYU. You go on the road and beat a team that is better than Wyoming. Made that point on Saturday. I still think that BYU is, because of their schedule, in a good spot to make the Big 12 championship game. They do go on the road against both Texas Tech and Iowa State. But even at 10-2, BYU could make it to Arlington. 4, TCU. Frogs looked. Frogs won.
Frogs won.
And they are undefeated, and they have. Josh Hoover has looked like he has looked. Oh, can I do this to you? I'm gonna do it to you.
No, Dad.
He has looked like what we were told Sawyer Robertson was going to be. TCU at 4. Their win against SMU 35-44.
Sawyer's still been good, man.
Good for the conference. Yeah, but not 380 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Hoover had a nice game, man. He had a nice game.
On 22 of 40, by the way, which is not great.
And we talked. I know we talked about it in the offseason. Like, I still think Sawyer's a better quarterback, but like Hoover's not that far behind. I think we had a segment in the offseason where I said, like, it's all this talk about Robertson and Levitt, but really it should be Robertson and Hoover.
Yeah.
Like Hoover is that good. And we saw it without a running game last year. It's a little bit better. This year, the dude can sling it, man. He doesn't need a lot of help.
He is on pace for 4,000 yards and 44 touchdowns.
Well, that's 2 FCS teams there in the first 2 weeks. That's 2 FCS teams.
Yeah, North Carolina.
It's tough to convince me otherwise. But that win against SMU, that's legit, man. That's a legit performance. 5 touchdowns and 380 yards, man. Tough to argue with that.
Houston sits at 5 for me. I believe still they are a sneaky team that could vie for a spot in Arlington. I do not believe they are Big 12 championship material yet, but they're 5. Utah drops to 6. I'm going to go Arizona State at 7, Kansas at 8. Utah is still at 6 because they have the best loss in Big 12 conference play. Right now, I mean, if I'm telling you Texas Tech is leagues better than everybody else, especially defensively, then Utah can't drop that far. I think Utah at 6 is still fair. They're still a good football team.
I think that is fair. And I think you look at that 5 and 6, Utah and Houston, there's not a lot of difference there.
Ooh.
There's not a lot of difference there, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you that there's probably on paper, they're probably the 2 best defenses in the conference. BYU will have a shout at that. Tech will have a shout at that after the performance they put up.
Yeah, I think Tech's 1 for me, but yes, go on.
Houston and Utah both top 25 defenses last year. Utah's numbers might have got inflated. Maybe they were only top 30. And Houston's got a better quarterback than Utah has. Let's get back to the Utah quarterback discussion. And so that's why I think that 4 and 5 is fair. I think you can flip them. I think you could do whatever, 5 and 6. Having them at 5 and 6, there's just not a huge difference there yet. And Houston worked Colorado last week.
Yeah.
This past week, the weekend before. They worked them. So I just don't think there's a lot of difference there. It's early.
And Colorado worked Wyoming. And I'm told by Utah fans that if your football team works Wyoming, you must be good. 7, Arizona State. Good win at Baylor. Baylor's a 10 for me.
I think Arizona State's the best team in the conference. I think they're headed for a national championship. If you had to ask me.
With Kansas at 8, Arizona at 9, I'm still not completely buying the Bearcats. I need to see a little bit more. Whereas with Houston, I was on them preseason. I'm going to stay on them. Baylor at 10. We'll talk more about the Bears coming up in the middle segment about teams that have disappointed. Cincinnati at 11. So here's where I get hey, bowl games gravy for you. This is Cincinnati 11, Colorado 12. UCF falls at 13. Their fans were really mad that I put them at 13 on social media. But I was like,
FCS win.
Yeah, North Carolina's not. I just don't know what to do with you yet. West Virginia.
Are they 3-1? Are they 3-1, UCF?
No, they're undefeated.
They're still undefeated. Okay. I wouldn't have expected that at this point in the season. Let me just say that.
Yeah, West Virginia at 14, Oklahoma State at 15, Kansas State at 16 in the power rankings. As ass as Oklahoma State is, it's still so much more apparent this is a disappointing season for Kansas State, who did lose their bye week this week.
That's tough, man. Oklahoma State loses to Tulsa at home, and they're not even in last place.
Yep, because Kansas State, Oklahoma State did what I was like, you know what? Yeah, could have seen that coming, actually. And Kansas State's just so surprisingly putrid that you get to be at 16.
So that becomes a context thing, a reputation thing.
It's a power ranking. This is like how you feel right now. Oklahoma State feels terrible, but they knew they were probably going to feel terrible. Kansas State said they'd win the conference, and they lost to Army. You can't. Number 1, Texas Tech. 2, Iowa State. 3, BYU. 4, TCU. 5, Houston. 6, Utah. 7, Arizona State. 8, Kansas. 9, Arizona. Baylor comes in at 10. At the 11 spot, Cincinnati. Colorado 12th in the power rankings. UCF 13. 14 for West Virginia. 15, Oklahoma State. 16, Kansas State. Does your team suck? That is the question, and we are going to answer it right. Well, not right now, but next on Locked On Big 12. Hey, today's show is brought to you by the Game Cap. The Game Cap is exactly where I've gone to get all of my new hats that have your favorite team, but your favorite team the way they were worn in the 80s and the 90s. For your college football fans, each and every one of them are going to answer the question same way. You miss the vintage hat from the 80s and 90s, and you miss the costs that they were, like $17, and now they're even less than that. Use my code locked on at thegamecaps.com, and go get your favorite Kansas State or West Virginia hat, retro hat, for $16.99. My code locked on at thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use that code locked on for an exclusive discount because legends wear the game, thegamecaps.com. Does your team suck?
Well,
it's reckoning time for a few of the Big 12 schools that I will pose the question. Can we settle here and say, hey, this is just not going to be a very fun year for us. West Virginia, the Pitt win was that, you know what? Hey, they'll put it on the headstone. Very cool. Very good.
Right.
Love it. I think you're a year away. Certainly for Kansas State, Oklahoma State, your season is over. Your season's done. If I'm a fan of Kansas State, I'm not happy that Kansas State is going to kick off in a football game because it just probably is not going to go. If I'm a fan of Oklahoma State, I'm upset that I have to watch that product. They also packed that stadium on Friday night as well and saw Cowboys get walloped by Tulsa. But then there's kind of that middle ground of teams like the Baylor Bears or even a school that suffered maximum disappointment losing by 24 points at home with America watching and Utah. What do we make? We'll start with you. What do we make of Dave Aranda, who is 500 as a head coach and somehow still can't be fired?
You're overplaying this. He's 33-32. Okay, that is over 500, Drake. I don't want to hear any more of that. I'll say like Baylor. I don't know if they're as bad as Cincinnati or UCF, but those latter two teams feel better about their teams. Like their fan bases feel better about their teams, right? Than Baylor's fan base does.
Sure.
This was a super winnable game for Baylor. Super winnable. Like they coughed it up 3 times. It was 3-0 in the turnover battle, and 3 turnovers turned into only 9 points, which showed how well Baylor's defense played in this game. But that's a difference in a ball game when you lose by 3 on a walk-off field goal, and their defense doesn't make the stop at the end. It's just I don't know with how much confidence I could say Baylor's very good. SMU has played 2 real teams this year, and they've lost them both. That's Baylor's only signature win, through 4 weeks. But that's their only good win. The other's against an FCS team. They got worked by Auburn, who Jackson Arnold really struggled throwing it once again against Oklahoma. Although that Auburn team, man, if they just had a different quarterback, they might win the national championship. And then Arizona State, who got embarrassed a couple weeks ago by losing in Stark Vegas, walks into your house and beats you. Like when you watch that game, was anyone being like, wow, I mean, Baylor just can't live with Arizona State, man. This team's just too good. No, Baylor just coughed up their lunch, man. And so even going into this week, I would have said they're good at one thing. They're good at passing the football. They haven't been very good at establishing the run, although this was another good Bryson Washington game, but they haven't been good at establishing the run. They haven't been good defensively. They haven't been good stopping the run. They haven't been good rushing the passer. Like, they've not been good in special teams, which they should have been really good at this year. So there's really nothing outside of passing the football that I thought they were very good at, and they were just okay at that on Saturday against Arizona State. So I don't know, man. They're okay. They're one of the okayest football teams in the country to me.
Yeah.
And they're 2-2 to show for it. So
they'll likely drop to 2-4. They'll find a way and then go 8-4.
Unless Oklahoma State fires Gundy this week and we get a nice little Jerry Kill situation. They will not lose to Oklahoma State.
West Virginia 41-10 against Kansas.
Yeah.
This I am a big West Virginia fan. I have adopted them as one of my favorite schools in the Big 12 to wax poetic about because I love their fan base and I love that they're committed to winning in athletics, something that I don't know if Baylor or Oklahoma State or TCU have done to the degree of a BYU, of a Texas Tech, of even now a West Virginia. This wasn't good. This just made me really sad to watch. I kept thinking about Mountaineer Paul. Just probably not having a fun time on Saturday.
Bro, I couldn't believe plus 13.5 this week. I hammered the crap out of that. I was like, they can't be that bad. Like they did beat Pitt, who I don't know exactly what Pitt is, but they're not Virginia Tech.
An FCS
keep
team
throwing
now.
names out there.
We've learned
apparently.
The ACC is that bad.
And Pete Souza told me this on my show this week. He does Inside the 12, Pete. And he's like, no, I wouldn't take it. Pitt sucks. Pitt just sucks. Like, I don't buy this. And he really liked Kansas. I didn't see a 31-point win coming. I really didn't. Yeah, that was brutal. I know they've had some bad injuries at this point too. But what was it? Can we go back to that Nico Marchiol, that QBR?
Yeah, the line's not the line. Let's not.
Jordan QBR
23. QBR of 23. Jalen Henderson though 99. He's the young whippersnapper that.
It's working out for Jalen Daniels here though. This new OC, it's working so far.
Yeah, Coach Z.
It took most of half the season to get it working last year. I know there was some tension.
Look
between
at
them and
the established the run here. 260 yards running the football. That's establishing the run.
In the conference, that's going to win you a lot of games.
Then you get in the red zone and you let Jalen Daniels throw the ball. Only 12 completions, but 3 touchdowns. That's really good. I like Kansas now. I think Kansas is in the Hall of Very Good for the Big 12. Maybe it's still in that Baylor category.
Sneak up on some people. They could sneak up on some people.
Be fun if Baylor and Kansas got together and had a little romp in the hay.
Be nice.
Feels right. Let's close it up with Utah. Do we throw them in there with Baylor? Now, does Utah get to be branded as like, hey, you just allowed the backup quarterback to whip you up and down the field and beat you at your home place in the biggest game that you've played since you joined the Big 12? Like, are they in just that okay category?
I think so. Basically, because of just what
Can
you
I
laid
remind
out
you,
there.
by the way, they were 5-7 last year. We can say they were okay. We can say that.
That would be optimistic. Are you talking about last year?
I'm saying last year they were 5-7. So just this year to be like, hey, they're an okay football team. That's how most 5-7 teams develop.
And for looking at the schedule, power ranking stuff, what's Utah's biggest win of the season? It was against the Big Ten, UCLA, who's apparently the worst college football team ever, them in North Carolina. So that doesn't look all that great. And Cal Poly in Wyoming. And to the point of like, we were very skeptical about Devin Dampier. It looked good for the first 3 weeks. Not very crisp in this Texas Tech game, but mostly that they were going to win games because of their defense, and their defense got whipped up and down the field in that fourth quarter against the Hamburglar, man, the backup quarterback. So I think there's probably some concern in Salt Lake because of that. At West Virginia, still, that's a very winnable game. But then those next two are real interesting. Arizona State, they might have just played themselves right back into the contender picture in this conference, week 1 of the Big 12 schedule. But these next 2 weeks will prove a lot about Arizona State, by the way. They got Utah in 2 weeks. They got TCU on Friday. And then that BYU game for Utah, obviously, that's the season in a couple of different ways right there.
I think
they're okay.
We can say Utah's okay. We can just say Utah's okay. And nobody freak out. Until proven otherwise, Devin Dampier looked like DeQuan Finn against Texas Tech, and that's okay. Not every law of averages. Not everyone can be elite. Coming up, Utah fans, not okay, man. We need to have a talk. Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I went this weekend to put in the best bets for my Big 12 picks. And I won money. Again, 3 of them hit out of the 5. That is plus a unit, up a unit. I win $100, and that's all from FanDuel. With the NFL and college football season being here, FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. It makes every game more exciting, and you can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I'm now 13-7 in my best bets this year in the Big 12. If you follow those every Thursday, you're probably going to win some money. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com and do it today. Today's show is also brought to you by Square. Square, it's like your local friend, big dog. There is something to walking to that coffee shop down the street. And there's one right over here on Wilmington Island, Georgia, where I live. And with this episode being brought to you by Square, I want to let you know what my neighborhood runs on Square. I go to pay, I tap to pay with my phone, bam. Square is exactly how I do it. When the neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. The kind of place you walk in, everyone knows your name, the staff, they're like family. And it's all because Square makes it so convenient for the neighborhood to feel like home. They're a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses. Go to square.com/go/locked-on-college to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood with Square. Utah fans online. BYU fans warned the Big 12. Like, oh, here's what you're getting. I want to say this. There's a guy like Ivan is a user on a very prominent user in the Utah community. And nice guy. Guy's pretty down the middle. He's the same one that posted the Chris Level video that said that when Level said that Texas Tech could go in there and thump Utah. Well, look what happened. He
had Chris Level's address, didn't even throw it out there.
Correct.
That was very nice of him.
No one burned the house down. I like that guy. I actually went to the Holy War with him last year and learned, wow, I like Utah fans. I like secretly wore a Utah undershirt. There was something about, I'm going to go to Rice Eccles and just try to take it all in and change the narrative. Everybody believes these Utah fans are nasty and ruthless. They did throw trash on the field at the end of that game.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of
that. There was that part. But
some fans would like that, by the way. Some fans would like their fan base to care that much. But. True.
90, and they looked awesome on College Game Day or whatever they call that thing. They looked great, man. There's a portion of listeners right now on the audio platform like, what are they talking about? Utah fans are fine. Then you open Twitter.
Yeah.
When they win, which they have not won a Big 12 game at home yet. They have not.
Not yet. That Baylor game was not a conference game last year, so no
BYU has more Big 12 wins at Rice Eccles Stadium than Utah, and Rice Eccles Stadium is the home of the Utah Utes. But you would think that they're the best thing ever. And what's crazy is I don't get how they're so loud, despite walking into the Big 12, getting their ass kicked, and then telling us, well, the Big 12's not even that good. What? How does that make crazy. Any sense whatsoever?
And it still happens. Like, it's still happening. I'm sure it's still happening after this loss to Tech.
I want to like them. I don't get paid to hate them. I want to be friends with all of you. But if there are 15 fan bases who are all united in one thought, and it's like, wow, Utah fans really, really just suck at being nice most of the time.
Yeah. I've never seen a fan base like really lean into their losses more as like a point of pride almost.
SMU, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I saw it again over the weekend. It's like Texas Tech will never have this. And it was just the Rose Bowl with Utah in the end zone. And someone quote tweeted it was like, I've just never seen a team flex harder on 2 losses than the Utah Utes. Like, and that's great, man. Playing in the Rose Bowl, that's an awesome thing. But like, can we get past that? What was it? 3 and 4 years ago, and you lost both of them, and you won what was clearly an inferior conference, like clearly, because then the Big 12 or the Pac-12 champs come in here and can't win. Like they cannot find ways to win. It's really a bizarre group because they came up to Waco a couple of years ago, and I bumped into a lot of them, and I think I had this very similar experience to you. They all seemed really nice.
Yeah.
In fact, some of them, this was before I was even really doing Locked On Baylor. I hadn't started it fully yet, but I was on the show with JT that week, and they were like, yeah, like literally 3 or 4 of them were like, I saw you on the show with JT this week. I'm happy to see the show start up. Like, they were nice people. And then I see it's like the Green Goblin mask calling to them, the Bird app, man. They just hit the X on their phone, and they just become something else. They become feral.
And again, even in losses, where Kansas State fans are incredible at being like, yeah, I kind of want to die.
Yeah, go follow Kurtz, man. He'll really have the pulse of the fan base. Too. He's like, I hate this.
Ema Caleb's like, look, fire me, fire Chris Kleiman, fire the AD, burn the stadium down. Oklahoma State fans, if you're like, hey, Oklahoma State, when they meet Kansas State, they'll each be 2-win teams. The Oklahoma State fans are like, no, where's the other win? Where are either of us winning a game? Yeah. They're super reasonable people. Utah fans still believe that they'll win the Big 12 championship because the Big 12's so poor, because the Big 12's so bad.
Right. And they went through all of that last year and we're still saying it this summer. Like that's I just don't know what the connection is. Like,
how do we allow them
stinks and they stink, but they're good?
How did we? It's like when the fans chant overrated after you beat a top 5 team at home. Like, what? That dilutes all the.
Like, you're just bringing yourself down. There.
Okay. How did we allow them in the offseason to convince the Big 12 that they're good again?
Convince Vegas that they're good again? I don't know.
How crazy is it that? Well, think about this. Any other 5-7 had Kansas gone 5-7 last year, and then beat UCLA, Wyoming, and Cal Poly, they wouldn't have been ranked, And Kansas did go 5-7 last year, by the way. So you're looking at
a better 5-7 too.
How did we allow in the offseason Joel Klatt to go, I think Utah's going to be good, and then the entire country puts them in their top 25?
Buying Utah. It looks like the stockroom floor. Buy Utah.
And now they got to be top 25 and host Texas Tech in a massive matchup, and they lost. I'm not sure, but I'll say this
about that, Utah fans, by the way.
But I'll say this:
game and losing. Yeah,
I know BYU fans hate it. The nasty BYU fan liars. By the way, it's a Tony Altimore quote.
Yeah,
I know that most fan bases in the Big 12 hate it, and Kansas State fans who are so reasonable, Oklahoma State fans are looking at them on that app, going, "What is wrong with you?" Even Texas Tech fans who are funny and have good banter, like, why are you taking this way too? Don't post my address.
Yeah, it's like this isn't fun anymore. We're having fun here.
But I'll leave it with this. I respect it. I respect the hell out of it. They packed that stadium out. They believe their team's going to win every week. They think their team is so much better than yours. They believe they're a top 25 school. At 5-7, they were a quarterback away from winning the Big 12 championship. That is a level of delusion the Big 12 lacks. And thus, they are the most important fan base in this conference. Because no one stirs the pot. No one stirs the pot. Everyone's normal. Everyone's nice. And then you get on that godforsaken app and you read a singular tweet from a Utah fan. It's like, yeah, I want every other Big 12 fan beheaded.
Are they our Ohio State just without the serial winning?
They're Texas. They're circa 2021 Texas. You just lost to Kansas, and for some reason, it's the fault of the Big 12.
That part I understand. The thing where I draw the line with Texas fans, though, is if Texas isn't good, they'll like give up, and they'll just be like, well, this sport stinks anyway. We live in Austin.
Yeah.
And like Salt Lake City seems like a pretty nice town, and they're never like that. Utah fans aren't like that. They're like, they're still in the mud with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing it really well as per usual. But UT fans will just be like, well, we're UT and we live in Austin, and this sport stinks anyway. And then they'll just bring up some crap of like NIL's ruined the sport anyway. And then when they got really good, they were like, we're the hub of college football again. And all of a sudden,
have fun driving back to Waco.
All of a sudden you got 15 new followers on Instagram, or people that you follow on Instagram, who are suddenly Texas Longhorn fans. That's not the case with Utah. Utah will find an excuse for everything, but they're never giving up. Like your original point there, they're not packing it in on a season ever. So that's where I give them a little bit more respect, I guess, than UT fans.
I give them credit for stirring the pot, ultimately stirring the pot. It's
fun to have them. It is fun to have them.
For a very small portion of Saturday, right after the game, it was this sect of Utah fans who were like, oh, it was the ref's fault. Texas Tech, 14 penalties for 122 yards. Utah, 2 penalties, $10.
And won by 24 points, by the way.
It's always something.
Points.
Big 12 refs. Give me this truck stop poverty conference. Give me back to the Big 10 where we belong.
Yeah, sure there.
Maybe BYU fans are right all along. That's Cameron Stewart at Real Cam Stewart. This has been and always will be. It was a crossover of Locked On. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. It's Baylor and Dose Grande.